It's 10 Toes Tuesday. We're going to get right into the story. And let me clarify this. This is not a story. This can be verified. This is just my life. And I'm telling you guys parts of my life that are good, parts of my life that are bad, and what I've seen. I am from Alabama. And my dad always used to have this saying, a coward dies 1,000 deaths. A soldier dies but one. You have choices in life. You can stand up for yourself and stand up for others, but I don't want you to be a bully. There was also rules about fighting. If you got into a fight, you couldn't start the fight. And he put another stipulation on top of that for me because I was quick to lay hands on people. He said they have to start the fight first, which meant that now I have to come from behind and win. I am already a smaller kid. I think 15, 16, I was about 100, 155 pounds and 5'9". That's not very big. When we moved up from Alabama to Ohio, it was two different worlds. I am used to Alabama where it is predominantly black. I was predominantly around my family. The educational system, I didn't know it at the time, but wasn't the high in the American scale. We didn't even fall in the middle of the 50 states. We were way back. I'm not going to go back and forth with you about it. That's what it was. That's the statistics. My dad was a teacher. He knew all of this. We moved up to Columbus, Ohio, and the school system decided that the curriculum from Alabama that transferred up here was not enough for me to go to the next grade. I was supposed to be going into the 11th. I was in a welding program in Alabama. They had a welding program in Columbus, but you had to be in the 11th grade. So I went to a year at this school and I'd be eligible to go to the technical school. Now the technical school bust in children from 5 or 6 different school systems. And there was the normal trades, auto body, welding, which I was in. I think it was healthcare, computers, security guard. Well, I forget what they called it. But you had all the technical stuff. Finished out the year, went to 11th, and I think I made it half a year. I met some really good friends there. One of the guys was another judge a book by the cover guy. He introduced himself as Redneck and that he wouldn't be called anything else. So they roll call. They'd say his name, but then they call him Redneck. Redneck was about my age, 16, 17, drove a motorcycle to school, even in the snow. He smoked 3 or 4 packs of cigarettes a day. He had open heart surgery by the time he was 15 or 16. And he told me he may not live until he was 30. But him and some of the other guys, we were really good friends. Come to find out, I said, man, what's going on with you? A name like Redneck, where I'm from, means you're this crazy. He started showing me pictures of his family and his nephews and things. And he had a very diverse family. He was not at all the guy that I thought he was going to be. Now, there was this other gentleman. He was about 6'2", 6'3", 200 pounds. He was pretty solid. And he was a bully. Not only was he a bully, but he was a racist bully. They had some kind of little clan group around these 5 schools. There was a whole bunch of them in there. One day, there was a girl, and I think her name was Sunshine or something. She was a Cherokee Indian. And we were at lunch in the lunch line. This guy told her she had on some nigger shoes. I said, what? I'm going to beat your ass. We going at it. That was the one time I was going to break the rule and we were just going to start fighting. Chad said, no. You're going to get in trouble. Let's make it back to the room. And the other guy said, yeah, when we get back to the room, I'm going to break you in half. You all small. You ain't nothing. I'm going to get you. All right. Let's wait until we get back to the room. Redneck said, do you want me to help him? Will, no, I don't. Because now he's mad because his family, he doesn't believe in that. His family is they have a lot of their multicultural family. We get back to the room, we square up, and I drag him. I'm beating him because the teacher isn't in the room. He thought because he was tall and I was 150 pounds that this was just going to be an easy fight. That he was just going to wipe the floor with me. No, didn't happen that way. I drug him. And I'm not saying that to say that I am the biggest guy or that I'm the meanest guy or that I can take everybody. I have had my fair share of mollywops and getting drug and just having a bad time. I've also won some, and a lot more than I've lost is because I will stand up for myself. And I don't care. It is just a fight. But don't pick with women. Don't use racial slurs, and don't be a bully. He crossed all three of those lines. I am enraged by now. They broke us up, broke his nose, he's bleeding. We go to the office, we get suspended for a week. Come to find out, that's not what happened. He went into the school and his mom, and they were crying because he wasn't going to get to graduate. And some choice words were said while we were in there that he's a white male and that he shouldn't be treated like this and they can't believe this. He shouldn't get the same punishments as me. Well, I already knew it before, but that's when I found out how the school system worked there. What they ended up doing was they expelled me and they cut his suspension in half. I was not allowed to go to any other public school. One was because I had gone behind. Because of Alabama, I had to stay back a year. The other thing was at that time, you were not allowed to just, let's say, go from a Worthington to a Dublin or a Worthington down to East School or anything like that as long as you could get a ride. It wasn't allowed. And so once I got blackballed and some calls were made, I couldn't go back. I couldn't get a high school diploma. So I had to get a GED. It was known that it was a racial issue. It was said that it was a racial issue. It was spoken. Some of the school system were mad at my parents and other people in the community because where I went to school, there were 10 families, graduating class of 1,500 or so. I think, maybe 5 or 10 people were made up of Black, Indian, and whatever other nationality. Now it's not like that. The school that I went to is very diverse. But back then, it was not. I thought it was important to get on here and with everything going on in the world, just talk about this stuff. It doesn't have to be politics, but it still does exist. Racism is far from dead. Bullies are far from dead. Standing up for yourself has all but died on a lot of fronts. I think it's time that the younger generation learn how to stand up for yourself. Don't throw the first punch, but you don't have to stand up for some of these injustices either. It's sneaky in Ohio. It's different than Alabama. It's very different than Alabama. But that's one of the things, one of the situations that happened to me. Before I went to the other school, it was the same thing. I digress. I've got some vegetables in the oven with a little bitty medallion steak. It's going to be really good. Again, all of this can be verified. This is not anything new and anything I haven't seen. I hope you guys have a good evening. That you stand up for yourself. You stand up for your kids. And I hope that the world gets a little bit better for my grandchildren and for my children. I hope you enjoyed the 10 Toes Tuesday. Big Onk out.